Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade today, going over some release news for a couple survival games that you might want to keep an eye on, and a reminder of another one that's coming exclusively to PlayStation 5 and PC out of early access. Lost Skies is the first game I'm going to be talking about, and it is coming to Steam early access. We'll also be diving into Oppidum, which is going to be a bit more of a chill, maybe family friendly survival crafting open world game, and that will be coming to Xbox, PlayStation and PC, as well as Nintendo Switch. And yes, just a reminder that Forever Skies, not to be confused with Lost Skies, is also releasing out of early access and coming to PlayStation on the 14th of April. So lots going on this month, and I'm going to be trying to cover them all across both my channels. So let's dive in what you need to know. So literally only revealed like an hour ago, Lost Skies has got its release date now, 18th of April. This is by the same people that brought you Worlds Adrift back in the day, and that game ended up getting shut down due to a lack of funding and problems and issues with their publisher. So this is their reimagining a good few years later. After successfully having a bunch of other small little indie games, they're returning back to their open world roots. But instead of it being an MMO, it's going to be a 1 to 6 co-op survival adventure game, with a clear emphasis on exploring sky islands, building and customizing your own air battleship, and using grapples, wing gliders and more to try and survive. Gathering resources, fighting against robotic turrets and maybe more creatures, as you also take on some deadly kind of behemoths that will come through the skies, giving you a chance to have naval or airship battles. They had a island creator demo a little while ago, and I gave that a shot and showed it to you guys, and also did a few little let's plays of their actual full gameplay demo a little while ago too. So there's plenty of footage out there to see if this game really is for you. As you might expect, it's not going to be launching on console, no plans to just yet, early access with no set parameters. They're really trying to say though that they want to keep the game focused and not have a creep list of features just being added. Early access will contain the first region, the outskirts of the world, including 3 custom islands they've built themselves, but they're also going to be including some of the community created content, the islands that community members have been able to make. Effectively, you can make puzzle elements, you can make parkour challenges, all sorts of stuff with their community driven island creator. Typical stuff, they'll be adding more content, obviously, more resources, more areas to explore, but the early access launch will have at least one big major boss. The first of the Heralds. They're like these dreadnought style creatures, remind me a lot of the Reapers in Mass Effect. So I thought this game was good, maybe not as good as I'd hoped it would be in terms of the demo, but that was a while ago and it was only the demo. Still felt a bit scrappy in places, and the tutorial was way too long before getting you involved in actually messing around with the airship, which is the big selling point. So they'll be expanding on the outskirts, adding more to it, and then further down the line, maybe even with the 1.0 launch, looks like they're going to be having a whole brand new region added too. The game has got a very much sci-fi feel of it. You have got guns that you can use, obviously not just on the battleships, but on yourself too. The verticality and being able to move around with the different traversal was really fun and interesting for sure. And by the looks of it, it's going to have light puzzle elements where you have to work out how to get in certain doorways and stuff. But yeah, really am hoping that the game gets you a bit more involved, like I said, with the airship building, because that seems to be the big strength for me. No pricing details just yet. They have said that in the future you may be able to have a dedicated server with more than 1 to 6 players if you want. It's not going to be PvP focused or anything like that, that's their previous game. They will have settings where you can turn on friendly fire and more that maybe you'll be able to make a hodgepodge a PvP experience with you and your pals. If you have their game Worlds Adrift in your Steam library, you can get 20% off and a special supporters pack of cosmetic items added as well. Obviously the game is only just launching, so no news about mod support. It will have full controller support though for people like me that prefer it. And right now they don't have any current plans to release it as a more expensive game, right now at least, once they leave early access. I've got to say, their plans do seem just a little bit, I would say, unfocused. They're saying stuff's coming for sure and adding a new region, but compared to a lot of other early access titles where you often get a lot more kind of being promised or laid out, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it's a good idea to not overpromise and under-deliver. We'll have to see how the full game's regions actually work and what they feel like, whether that's going to be enough to sustain pretty much whole of early access having just one region. And it has to be said as well, I'm being truthful, they have let go of a bunch of staff in the most recent times. They're a studio that is kind of struggling. So this could be the last chance saloon for them to really make a hit and keep them going. And I hope they do. But for them reasons, it might be something that you might consider checking out a bit further down the line and seeing what the reception is, at least all around launch. I'm still excited for it. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. I think the demo definitely had potential and promise, and lots of the other stuff that I didn't get to actually try looks really good. So you more than likely see this here on Jade PG. Lost Skies coming out 18th of April on Steam. So I know a lot of console fans get the ump when I'm previewing lots of these PC games, but that's just the way it goes. They often are cheaper and easier to get out on PC before coming to console. However, Oppidum is coming to all platforms pretty much on the 23rd of April. This is a bit more of a cozy and you could say kid-friendly, maybe action RPG survival game, and it is going to be arriving on PlayStation 4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series SX, Switch and PC. It's not an early access title, it's going to be a full release, and it's more about placing your encampment down. You are pretty much scouts being transported to a magical land, corrupted by some sort of element, helping NPCs do the usual crafting and survival stuff, foraging for resources, taking on fantastical enemies, all in the name of trying to get something called Matai. I've done a more detailed video on this on my second channel, Jade PG Crafted, so go and check it out. I'll leave the link down below, and that's where you'll find coverage of this game when it releases on the April 23rd. So no direct base building, just placing these crafting benches, lumber yards, lots of animal husbandry, and doesn't look like it's going to have some sort of mounts, as there's horses in the game that you can have in your stable, as well as the typical stuff like cows and other stuff to maybe generate certain resources. Food's going to be important to give you obviously a decent preparation against some of the enemies, and it's a story-led survival RPG, helping the NPCs reunite and become friends again on the island. It does seem to be a set map, not procedurally generated, and just like all console games with some sort of multiplayer focus, you will need online PSN or Xbox Live to play with your friends, otherwise you can play it solo. Pretty impressed though, they are going to have cross-platform play, so you'll be able to play with your friends no matter what platform you're on, although there won't be cross-data save. Only via Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X, and then obviously PS4 and PS5. It's going to have world modifiers as well, so you can change and make the experience a bit easier or harder depending on what you want. No price details for either of Lost Skies or Oppidum just yet, but as said, you'll be keeping tabs on this with me, hopefully on my other channel, and that's where you're going to find lots of gameplay and guides for this one. And as if April hasn't been stacked enough already, yes, Forever Skies is coming to PlayStation 5 and out of early access for 1.0 update on PC. The final update that arrives with this will have proper co-op play, so it's 1 to 4 players, customizing your airship, exploring mysterious wrecked planet of Earth with all sorts of dangers, especially under the clouds. They've got giant massive behemoths that can rise and potentially take you out, so you'll have to look out for that as you gather resources and explore a mystery and see if you can find a cure to hopefully help with maybe reclaiming Earth. Big focus on that kind of scary element, often coined as Subnautica in the skies. I would say it's got a little bit more mystery about it. I don't think it's going to be as expansive, but they have had a whole host of changes, going from completely procedure generation to now a little bit more handcrafted in certain zones, so the grind for certain resources or unlockable gear won't be as bad, and other ways to go ahead and unlock new items. Really curious to see what this is like running on PlayStation 5. Again, I showed you guys the demo of it, which is still available on PlayStation if you want to check it out. Sadly, still no news about an Xbox launch. I'm hoping it's only exclusive window and we'll see it arrive on other platforms in the future. And yeah, you can check out all the early previews that I did on this when it launched in early access and a few updates. But otherwise, I'm hoping to give this another shot. But yeah, it's really incredibly busy, so I'm going to do my best to fit everything in. Oh, and FYI, if you're on PC, you can actually activate the test branch server and go and play the 1.0 content right now. So I'm guessing that's why they're not really sending maybe review keys out to certain creators if we've already covered it, because we can go and access it ourselves. So that might be something I'll try and find time to do next week. I did think when it launched it was a little bit expensive for what it really offered in terms of pure gameplay content that was there. They have updated and added a bunch more, so right now it's about £29 unless you go ahead and pre-order it and get a little discount. And they've got a little supporters pack for anyone that backed it on their Kickstarter originally, and that's why they've created a deluxe edition for a few quid more that gets you some decoration pieces and some PSN avatars and stuff. Although you will also get 72-hour early access, so you guys tell me whether you think that's fair and reasonable. And yeah, if I do get time, I would like to do a review on it, so we'll see how it goes. And that's it. Let me know what one of these 3 games takes your interest the most, if any. As said, Lost Skies, Forever Skies, they'll both be covered here. That's going to be a nightmare for me doing my thumbs and titles because they're both coming out within 4 or 5 days of each other. And Oppidum will be on JPG2. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you later.